catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo, your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for Storytime. Hey, come on.
Good evening. Welcome to Storytime. We are so excited to be here yet again. It is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. And I want to say thank you for being here. I truly want to say thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to take a moment and say I appreciate you so much. And I do know that some of you have been concerned about me, so I want to say thank you for your concern. And I will touch base on that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about this amazing guest we have tonight. Storytime is so excited to share that we have Dr. Kimarie Machinga. She's a powerful leader in transformation with over 3 decades of experience exploring the human dynamics. And she takes the holistic approach to empowerment, healing, and human potential. So we're going to see all the things that she does. Man, she's remarkable. She does it through writing and speaking and workshop, and she's an inspiration. If to know her is to love her. And she's helped many individuals to break through in life and leadership. Yes, she has. So when I move this picture from in front of the screen, you're going to see me. And we're going to talk about it, and we're going to bring our guests up. So I just want you to get ready. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So hello, how you doing? It's your girl, the Hope Catalyst. I want to say thank you so much. I want to pause for a good cause for a minute because some of you know I was in a car accident yesterday and I've gotten the calls. I want to say thank you for the calls. Thank you for the text. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the concern. I felt it. I truly did. On all my social media platforms and on my phone, I truly want to say, God bless you all. I'm doing okay. I got a little bump on my head. I don't know if you can see it. And but I'm blessed. I do have to get another car, but I don't have to get another me. You know what I mean? So the biggest thing is I'm okay. You know, the other person's okay. We both walked away. So that's the blessing. We both walked away. So I want to say thank you again for just loving on me, calling me, and being concerned. You really touched my heart with that. You really, really did. But I had to go back to work today for my next episode. So again, like I said, we have Dr. Kimarie here, and I'm just excited to have her here. Always a pleasure to be able to have someone that I know personally. You hear me say that occasionally because I've met a lot of people online, but this is a young lady that I know personally. So again, that gives me great joy anytime I have someone that I know personally. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my guest in the room because I think I hear her knocking at the door, y'all. So I want you to help me give her a round of applause. Hey, Dr. Kim, how you doing?
How are you? So good to see you.
Yes. Long time coming. I am so excited to be here with you today. You know, we talked about this when we reconnected, and I shared that I was doing this, and we talked about the possibilities. So I'm excited to have it manifest.
Me as well. I love how we've manifested a few good things together in this little life together. So it's exciting.
Yes. So how has life been treating you?
It has been wonderful. It's always an event, right? There's always a new chapter. I had been away from the Raleigh area for a little bit, so I came back to get closer to my daughter and grandson. And so just really grounding in with the family for the last year. And now, again, getting back out to build business and connect with people, and build my own life here, right? So things are different after COVID. And yeah, so that's where I am right now.
So, Kim, when we first met, you were on a different journey.
Yes.
You're on a completely different journey than you're on now. So we want to talk about the different journeys because we know that in life, that's what happens. We go through transitions and different journeys. I mean, some people go through some for the good, some for the bad, some for the ugly. You know what I mean? People go through life, and there's a term that people use, and they say life be lifing, right? So I think it's good that we talk about that because in order to really go into the depth of what you're doing to help people with the breakthrough that you do now, I want to take us up, and I should say back, so we
Yes.
can get to where we are now. So before we do that, first and foremost, tell the people who never met Kimarie Machinga, who is Kimarie? Like, where you're from? A little bit about your background, and your family dynamics, and take us back on that journey first.
Sure. Well, I am originally from New Jersey. I am one of four children, three brothers. So I have an older brother and twin younger brothers, and up in a very small house. And I was there in New Jersey until I was 38 years old. But in that time, I got married and had two children, a boy and a girl. And I got married young. I got married about 20 and had my children, and then only stayed married a few years. So I raised my children um, as a single mom. And in that time, I learned a lot about what my passions, my purpose was through mothering. My After the divorce, my son had some issues and he was acting out in fits of rage. At the time, I was working in the fitness industry, and I didn't know what to do. My son was, like I said, he was acting out. I tried everything, and then I finally took him to a psychiatrist, and they wanted to put him on medication. I mean, he was like ripping his face, pulling his hair, and I just knew in my soul that that was not the right path. But it
Mm-hmm.
lit a fire in me to go deeper than just. So I was working fitness. I started to learn about nutrition. I started to learn about the holistic approach, how the mind, body, mind, and spirit work together. And I started to implement these tools and simple shifts in diet. And the teacher actually reached out to me and said, "Who is this child and where is your son?" Because there was a dramatic shift pretty quickly. So that shifted my journey. And I started to work with people, doing this work on a more holistic approach, still working in the health field, working with fitness. And then when I moved to North Carolina, I decided to just work with the people without the fitness piece, right? So without actually personal training with them. Did you have
Well,
a
let me
question?
stop you because you don't. She don't fast forward it all the way to adulthood.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay, but let me take you back first. So, childhood in New Jersey.
In New
So,
Jersey.
city girl found herself down here in the country. How'd you like that transition coming from the city down to North Kakalaki? What was that like? Because it's different down here. Because I'm a New Yorker, and I know when we first met, we talked about that. How did you like that transition?
It was really challenging because I came down with a partner, that a new partner, and my teenage daughter and my older teenage son. So there was a lot of, attitude going on. There was a lot of pushback. There was a new relationship. We thought that we were going to conquer the world when we got here, that we had it all figured out. And when you're coming to a place that you don't have family, you don't have a job that you can plug into, like we're going to
Right,
eat this, um,
right.
you could just go into a tailspin quickly, because as an entrepreneur, as you know, it's a lonely world at times. So, and then you're moving into a place where we moved onto the outskirts of Raleigh. So there was a lot. I mean, nothing like it is today, 20 years later. It was so different, so
Yeah, but
different.
you know what? You handled it well because you opened up that place when I met you. Was it in Lewisburg? Where was that? Was it Lewisburg?
Franklinton. So how that
Franklin.
happened was, yeah, my family's in construction. So when I get scared about, it's so funny because no matter what situation I'm in, I'm still able to bring out the best in the client, right? But you can fool yourself into believing, what do I have to offer? My life is falling apart. I better not do this. I better hide, right? So I started to do construction and real estate investing because just to
Mhm.
bring money in and not have to ever feel like I was going to pressure a client. I never wanted to have that feeling. And that's where I found Franklinton. And then I just got this vision of building community. So I felt like these people were not ready for my holistic spiritual approach. And, even though I don't sell it as spiritual, it's, holistic is mind, body, spirit connecting. And so I decided to open a cafe based on the arts so I can kind of have people come in and shine through their purpose, like kind of from the back door. So still doing my work in a way that would allow people to show the best versions of themselves. And I feel like that's why how we met. That's how
Yeah,
it
it is.
yeah. We got
And it
to
was a beautiful thing. You know what? There was some great talent that came through there. The way you designed it, I saw your creativity because you painted it, you decorated it. It was so vivacious. And I know you enjoyed that process going through it. And it was pretty cool. And the entertainment, the DJs, Walnut, and a lot of people came through there. And I got to meet, I think it was the mayor at the
the
time
mayor.
that came through
Yep.
there. And so it was really cool. The networking that took place, it was timely. It was a timely thing because I think that's when it was growing in that area, right? That's when the city was kind of
It wasn't
evolving.
growing. Now it's so funny. Now it's taken off, but at the time everything was dead. So I just got a strong feeling in my body that you were supposed to wake up the town. You're supposed to connect and build community. And here's the thing: the cool thing, Crystal, was that the mayor and do you remember Joe Cutchins, the old?
Yes, yes, yes. From
Yes,
the funeral home. He's the funeral home
yes.
director.
Yes,
Yes,
he grew up there, and then, of
yes.
course, he went off, did his music career, and then came back, and so he said when we did his concerts that
Mhm.
the mayor he used to play with the mayor's dad, who was
Mhm.
one of the judges, and he said and then they would go home to their segregated homes and were not allowed to be friends. And
Wow.
he said, here he is telling me stories of Franklinton and saying, like, you literally brought it all together. Like, this has
Yes,
not happened here. And so
yes,
I was amazed because I mean, I wasn't doing it with an agenda. I was just listening to guidance and, of course,
yes,
loving everyone and letting everyone in. And, but people, every single time they came in, if there were two tables that were occupied, everyone was always talking. It was always a community. So
yes.
I feel like I did my job in
You
that
did.
in that year. But then
You
it was
did.
time for me to get back to really going deep with clients.
So, you know, Reggie, you remember Reggie White? Reggie White
Yes.
came through there. Reggie White
Yes,
came
I
to,
do.
and like I said, Wallette Watson is doing really good now. You remember
Awesome.
Wallette? Her father passed away, but Wallette is an awesome singer. She's doing amazing. She's been in New York and she's doing some global work, and so amazing. So I met some good people there, and I think, like I said, it was timely. And even though the city might not have been totally evolved, you did wake some things up. And now, I'm not sure when the last time they've been through there, but I'm sure right now, at some point when they talk about it, they got to mention your cafe. They have to mention it because of what you accomplished. It has to come up in the conversation.
They say it does. A lot of the people will always keep plugging back to the because I called it the Freedom to Shine
That's
Cafe.
right. That's right.
It
That's
was
right.
like let's pull. So that was me with clients pulling your purpose through the back door. Like I figured they weren't ready. They weren't quite ready for necessarily, and that may or may not have been true. But in my head, they weren't ready for the coaching and that kind of stuff. I didn't think so. But then afterward, I actually did use that building for my clients.
Freedom to shine. That's exactly the name. Oh my goodness. Yes, 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 yes. I'm gonna find some of those pictures too. But listen, so I know your pride and joy back then was also Little Man. Now let me just tell y'all, if y'all are here right now, I want to remind you of a few things you can do while you're here. If you're on the channel, on either one of our channels, because I think Dr. Kimarie also has it on her channel, I want you to make sure that you take a moment and let people know that you're here. Okay, I want you to make sure that you share. All right, we tell people share with about 5 friends and tell them that you're on story time and you're listening to Dr. Kimarie and that she's chatting with her good friend Krista, right? And when you come, we want you to like, we want you to comment and subscribe to both of the channels. She has 2 channels, so we want you to subscribe to both of them. All right. The other thing we want you to do is let us know you're out here. Say hello, comment if you're doing it live, if you come back and do the replay, and let us know where you came in from and if you got something from the conversation. And Dr. Kim, one of the things, we both are spirit led. So we talked about how I don't do scripts and stuff, and you asked me a question. And so after yesterday and everything I went through, for sure, I think it is good to do a little prayer to lead us. Would you lead us in a prayer?
Sure. God, thank you for this moment right now in time where Crystal and I are led to be heart-centered and purpose-driven, that we can make a difference in the world, that we could touch the hearts and lives of those people that need to hear us, those people that, that one person that when we speak, they say, that's exactly what I needed to hear right now. That we know that we are all connected, that we are all one, and that oneness, just we can feel it through our body right now, and it can be spread out so that we can bring peace into the world, and that we can just, anything that needs to be heard today comes through us in such a powerful way, filled with grace, filled with ease. I give thanks. Amen.
Yes. Amen. Now, before we go into the business part of it, I know a big part of you is your family for sure. I know the family is a definite big part, right? And I have a few pictures that I know you sent me, and I want to look at those and talk about those for a moment. And
Sure.
let's talk about this picture right here and who we can have in this picture.
So that is when I published my first book, Problem Solvers Burnout Cure, which, by the way, I am revising. So you can't get that book anymore, but I am revising it. But those are my parents, my beautiful parents, and they were both entrepreneurs. They were both amazing people. They were married for almost 60 years, and they actually did pass away 30 days apart.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And that
Wow.
just, yeah, that lends to how committed they were to each other. They literally told me they were going to 3 years earlier, and they couldn't have, you know what I mean? They literally joked and said that to me. And if it had to, thankfully they said it 3 years earlier, because that is so how they were, that when it
Wow.
happened, yeah, I was taking care of them. When it happened, I knew it was going to happen, thankfully.
So wait a minute. So people say that when couples are close and they're connected like that, that sometimes when one leaves, the other one follows. But
Yep.
they actually felt so connected that they even spoke it and
Yep.
they shared it with you to prepare you to say, look, baby, we can't be without each other. So when one of us go, the other one's not going to be too much longer. Wow. So did them telling you that make it easier?
Well, at the beginning, when she first said it joking on the phone, I cried, like it just tears burst out. And and then I thought to myself, my mother is such a powerful woman. It's going to happen. I know her. And
Wow.
so then after we would joke, and she was always the one that, like, my mother was a powerhouse, right? But then we each have, the bigger the front, the bigger the back. We have our challenges.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Hers was always health. And that also has a lot to do with why I am so into the holistic health, because that
mm-hmm.
was one thing that she couldn't get past, was her physical limitations. But we thought that if anything, she would have been the one. But what happened was he got sick. And
Mm-hmm.
when he got sick, she was not going to do it without him. So he got cancer, and yeah. And then when he passed away, she was actually surprised she woke up the next morning. She actually woke up and said, "Why am I still here?" She didn't think that, she thought like magically she was just going to go too.
Wow. Well, you know what? God bless you for that. And so it is amazing that when we have parents that are together. How many years were they together?
They were 59 and a half years, so they were almost on 60 when they,
Wow. Oh
yeah.
my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, that would be the reason why that they definitely had to be together. And what did they leave with you? I know there were valuable lessons that you learned from them. What would you say is the most valuable lesson that you learned from them?
They were so giving. My parents had nothing. They were young when they got married. They didn't get the support of their families. They had children right away. Um, but we had literally like a beach bungalow that we lived in Cliffwood Beach, and 4 kids, and they took everybody's kids in. It was like they were always helping like teenagers who were in trouble, or people who didn't have a place to go for the holidays always came to our house. Like, our house was always filled with love. Our house was always They were always generous. There's not one person that came in that didn't get a Christmas present. You know what I mean? Like, they really my mom worked in McDonald's at one point. She was a party, like, she did like the outreach stuff, and she would
Okay.
always take care of the homeless, and then go when something happened, take us to the hospital to take care of the person, and adopt families for Christmas. Like, we had nothing, but she was always able to raise money or get help. Or So to me, like, they just always gave, and they always saw the beauty in people.
Mhm.
They didn't look at a person through the lens that so many people do,
Oh
through
wow.
the limitations or the judgment. Like, that, my mother would always say, "Oh, that person is just so beautiful." And I'd be like, "No, they're not." You know what I mean? Like, a teenager, you're like, "I don't think so." But she just saw the heart, and that is how I am now, right? So I could see that child inside. I could see that heart centered. I could see that potential, and I can pull it forward. But that was definitely a gift I got from my mom. And,
Wow.
yeah, for sure. And my dad too, he was such a gentle soul. Like, he had a tough, tough childhood.
Wow.
Yeah, his mom died very young. He lived on his own very young. And he just was such a gentle man. Like, he didn't have to be, like, he could have really gone the other way. He hung out with a lot of people that could have taken them down the wrong road. But, when they got together, they were just love. I mean, even when they were teenagers, we were babies. There was a 14-year-old boy left. His mother left him, took the 2 younger babies, and left
Hmm.
the kid at 14. And my parents were like 21 and 20, and they took him in and raised him.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. So then I know that we have another picture here that you shared with me. Let me go back to these pictures here because I know I saw a different picture here, and I know this right here is really a special one. How about this little guy right here?
Ah, ah, the love of my life.
Yes, yes. So talk to
That
me
is
about
my
talk to me about
Tommy. Yeah, that is my Tommy. That is my grandson. I was blessed enough to actually help my daughter deliver him.
Oh my goodness.
I
Wow.
know.
How was that experience? How was that experience? Delivering a baby?
I can't even begin to tell you. It was just beyond, just the fact that my daughter's a strong daughter. The
Hmm.
strong women raise strong women. And
Hmm.
to see her be so vulnerable and allow me to really take care of her through that whole process of, I think it was like 17 hours of labor and
Wow.
back labor, and, just all the things. So, and then actually being able to see her look at me right before she had him. She was just like, "Mom, I can't do this. I can't do this." And just seeing that little girl, I could see the 3-year-old in her, and I just wanted to take it all away. And I would just one more push, one more. I just saw her turn into a woman, like, you know, just she was a woman, but when you turn into a mother, like I saw her shift, and it was I couldn't even put words to how beautiful it was. When she was even at one point when Tommy wouldn't come out, she actually sat up and spoke to the baby, and he wasn't even out yet. And everybody was, the nurses were just in tears because it was just such a moment of Tommy, come on, we got this. We got this moment. And so he's just super duper special. And when he came out, the first thing he did was grab my hand. Oh,
Wow.
He is
Wow.
my best friend. He is
So let
my
me ask you
best
something.
friend.
Did you take classes or something to be able to deliver a baby? Or this
No,
came
no,
natural?
no. I
This
was
came,
with there was the medical staff was there. I was just
okay.
assisting her. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it was amazing. It was, and
Okay.
he is just so special. We have such a special relationship. We
Wow.
really
How old is
do.
he now?
He's going to be 7. He turned 7 in the end of January.
Yeah, because I
So
remember. Wow. And then this baby
that's
girl.
her. That's Tommy's mommy.
Yeah. And y'all always had a special bond. Y'all always had a special bond. And
Yes,
so
she
I
is.
remember that. And then look, I found something. How about that?
Wow. Wow. That's my son in that picture.
Wow.
Oh, that's the mayor. That's the mayor
Mhm.
and his husband or last husband. There's Joe Cutchins. Look at you. You found the pictures. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I was sitting there like, I gotta find this freedom to shine. Oh my goodness. But take me back to your son here. Take me back to this. I remember you have a special bond with your children, and watching you create this environment was really special. And I know that, like I said, I know that the city talks about it because what you created there will always be remembered because you lit up the city with hope and happiness, and you did start the journey that you're on now right there. Even though you probably didn't know it when you came to North Carolina, but that was the beginning process of it. Because we talked about stages we go through, and that stage was an important stage. So how is he doing?
He's okay. He's in upstate New York. He and I have had, believe it or not, had a little falling out after my parents passed away. So he's in upstate New York. I don't get to see him. I don't think that's forever. Sometimes things do happen for a reason. Sometimes
Yes. Yes.
space is good.
Yes.
He did get married, and I think that they're paving their way. I think
Oh,
that there was a need for I just trust God, right? So when things happen, I lean into the work I need to do, the work I need to see, and I feel peace in my body because I've done the steps, and I just know that there's a reason things happen the way they do. So
that's right. That's right. And then after that, we went, and I'm going to share with you. But we have also. I know you went to. Let me take this off so I can show you. You went to another phase. You went to another phase in life after that, and during that phase is when you started. And I don't know if you skipped, so you have to tell me how it went. When did you go? Did you go straight from that to this when you went to the Brave Breakthrough? How did you go from being that person with all the creativity and everything you had to here?
well, I did when I had my studio in New Jersey. It was the journey within, and so it was this work. But then after, I really felt the call. Like I felt like the call to start the Freedom to Shine Cafe, and I felt the clear guidance that you've done your job here. Go back to what you do best. And so Brave Breakthroughs I started to work with people with addiction for a short period after the cafe. I was hired as a holistic life coach at Legacy Freedom Treatment Centers. And while I was there, they literally gave me the office and said, do what you do. And I didn't
Wow.
know that I knew anything about people with addiction. So I just did what I do. I started to
Right.
work and do my process, and people were having dramatic results because this is the work that I do is not typical of addiction processes. Is not, they don't do the way the tools that I was using. And so through the process of working with those people with addiction, I created a 30 module program
Wow.
because everything that I was doing was working so dramatically that I kept saying, I need to make a toolkit for you guys. And so they would laugh. And then one of them called me one day because they were high level. They were like high level executives that I was working with that were in addiction. They were like, it was like a high level place. And the one guy said to me, you need to do this. You need to, where is your program? And so I did. I developed a 30 module program that I take clients through because I have seen people in the throes of addiction, the lows of depression, anxiety, depression, medications, like all the things, people who were suicidal and just out the other side shining and thriving. So it's just been such a pleasure to be able to experience with people.
So I'm looking at your education and training, Doctor of Metaphysical Science, Pastoral Psychology, Masters of Metaphysical Science, Bachelors of Metaphysical Science, Licensed Ordained Minister, and all this from the University of Metaphysics in Arizona. And so the certifications in personal training, yoga instruction, Feng Shui, coaching and speaking, uh, all these things, Reiki Master, substance abuse counselor. This is amazing. So this is how you're able to help everybody. And so it would make sense that you would be able to do those things. And then not only that, but you also became an author. And then you have you have the book you wrote about problem solvers burnout cure. Oh my God, a guide to reclaiming health, redefining relationship, and reuniting energy. So wait a minute, hold on. Problem solvers burnout cure. Let's talk about that for a minute. That sounds really, really good because people do get burnt out. People get burnt out with life, they get burnt out with happiness, they get burnt out with business, they get burnt out with relationships. How did you write that book? And tell us about the cure for burnout.
I will. Actually, that's really funny that you're asking me this because I went through a business. You know what? When we're creatives, and you probably know this for yourself, as a creative, as a healer, right? It's hard to kind of know how to market yourself because you just do the work. Like spirit flows through you, And I was asked to really, as they put it, land the plane, decide what you want to talk about. And I thought, well, the one thing that really it all boils down to is people are in burnout. They're in, they're usually hitting bottom. And so I know that in today's day and age, you hear a lot about burnout, but then you hear a lot about compassion fatigue. And
Mm-hmm.
com-
Wow.
compassion, love does not cause fatigue. What causes fatigue is when we're giving from an empty cup, when we're misdirecting our energy, you know? And so one thing that I really teach about is how to manage our energy, kind of like the way we manage our bank accounts, the way we invest
Wow.
our money. And it's just really understanding. And that sounds very simple, but a lot of people think that that what they're doing is going in the right direction. Let's say, for instance,
Wow.
loving your child, like you love your child, and so you worry about your child. But worrying about your child is not love, that's fear, right? So you're
Mm.
taking that energy and you're like poking holes in the bottom of your cup, and you're really not holding them up either. That's not helping them either, right? So it's
Wow.
like it's really understanding how when we're in love, when we're in fear, and fear isn't always afraid. But fear is anything that is causing separation. So
Yeah.
when I'm talking about burnout, I explain, the holistic approach, how body, mind, and spirit go together, and then how to invest our energy that allows it to multiply. If you were to think about investing your money, right? Certain stocks, you multiply your money, right? But you can many people think that we have an either or, right? We either give to us or we help other people. And that's why there's so much compassion fatigue in the industries that are the helpers, are the professional problem solvers. So those are the people that I speak to, the people that are helping others, the caregivers, the nurses, the teachers, the attorneys, like those, like they're the highest suicide rates.
Oh my gosh.
So
Like the
yeah. So
caregivers, let's stop right there on that one right there. Woo. The caregivers, the people who are always called on, that stretch themselves so much and forget about themselves so much because they're feeling so overwhelmed, or they're feeling so uh like so focused on their loved one. Like, when you have a loved one, I speak from experience. My sister having dementia, I was a caregiver for 3 years, and I had to relinquish that because it got to be too much. When I started forgetting my own appointments and taking my own medicine and doing my own thing, I said, wait a minute. And then it was just other things, and I said, okay. And that's when I realized we have to really give ourselves permission to make time for ourselves too, because we can't forget ourselves, because like you said, you can't pour from an empty cup. And so I'm glad that you brought that up about the burnout for the caregiver. Parents, another one. Parents, sometimes we forget about ourselves because and wives, sometimes when you have all these roles that we have to fill, we have to take care of, significant others and husbands and wives and children and grandparents. And, then we have the employer because we have to go. We're business owners, and we're wearing all these hats. But some people, Kimberly, they don't know that they're burnt out. They think that it's normal. They go through, and some people do get overwhelmed, and that's where they talk about that mental health thing. And then you start seeing the suicides, like you mentioned. But how can you help people to understand if they're at the verge of getting burnt out, and what are some red flags that they need to look for to know, I think I need to go get some help, or I need to slow down?
when they want to numb, right? When they, what do? Everything is an escape now, right? Um, the people in addiction um, are no different than the rest of us, to be honest. The one thing I realized about working with people with addiction, which I was so thankful that God put me in that place for that short period of time to really understand these people, that we all have an addiction mindset, and we have a wholeness when we're in our wholeness. And when we're not in our wholeness, we start to look at life like the world is against us, right? And we
Mm.
start to look at life like we're alone, we're abandoned, we're being rejected, or we're not enough. We get in that place, and then we start to want to numb out, right? So we
Mhm.
are scrolling on our phone, and we're taking mind altering medications, or we're numbing out to alcohol or marijuana, whatever it is, right? Whatever the substance is, or food, or shopping, or streaming, or uh, even porn. I mean, porn is an addiction, and
Wow.
it's not to villainize any of the things I just mentioned. It's
Right.
only to say that when it becomes a coping skill, like we
Right.
start to lose ourselves in that process, right? So the beginning word, the one emotion that starts to pull you down into a negative, is when we can get into boredom.
Mm.
We start to get into, we don't we a boredom, and the reason why I say that is because you won't recognize boredom, but it's lack of purpose. You feel that
Wow.
emptiness in you, right? When we have that lack of purpose, there's two things. If I always say this, if I could teach two things to change the world,
Mm.
like to change every single person in the world, it would be connect them to that inner essence, that child within, that spirit within you, and connect you to your purpose, because that spirit within you will connect you to your purpose. But when you are disconnected, you feel like it's either or, like it's either I take care of me or I can help them, when in truth it's more like an oxygen mask. When we're connected to that inner essence, we put our oxygen mask on, and then anything we give is from the overflow, and it multiplies out. So we're filled up first, not last.
Wow. 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 And so I noticed on your page that you had all those different ways that you help people. You had, I saw, and this is one that I tried that blew my mind, the Reiki, energy healing and chakra balancing and meditation, physical fitness, nutrition, yoga, applied kinesiology, substance abuse addiction. So let me ask you something. Out of all of these things, which one of these would you say is, I'm not going to say the most impactful, because it's probably all of them are probably good, and it really depends on what the person needs. So how does one decide when they come to you, or how do you decide like which route they need to take? I mean, because you do so many things.
Well, all of those things are my background, and all of those things are implemented into how I created my modules and my
Okay,
program. And
gotcha.
so all of like basically what I do is I address body, mind, and spirit at the same time. What if we are addressing an addiction of some kind, we're addressing them all at the same time. So while you're getting the tools, the replacements, we're giving you the tools, and we're slowly pulling you away from the habits that are destructive, right? And
Wow.
so you're getting the tools, you're getting what we do is we have you recognize within your body. You had asked me earlier about how do you know when you're falling down that hill, how do you know? I teach you how to detect it in your body, because you're either in joy, peace, or freedom, or you're in the illusion that you're separate. Because
Mm,
joy, peace, or freedom are when we're in our wholeness, we're connected. We're connected, we're plugged in, we've plugged into our source, and we are recharging at full capacity. And when we pull into the illusion, we start to believe that we're separate. We start to look at either, you know what I mean? And so you can feel the disconnect in your body. And that usually happens when something or someone triggers you. Something
mm.
is said, something has happened. All of a sudden, you feel that gut punch, or you feel that twinge, or you feel that heaviness. And, and then right then and there, if you don't reconnect to spirit, plug in, and I teach it through breath, if you don't reconnect, then everything from there is going to be made from the decision of separateness, not
Wow.
unity, not oneness, right? So just think about the world today, right? It's like instead of we start to get distracted into believing that we have to fight for ourselves, that we have to, that we're separate, and that this person's doing that. No one can take your power, right? Our power is in our connection, in our divine connection. When we
Wow.
unplug from that and we start going into the illusion that we have to protect ourselves and all of these things, then our power is given over there, and we
Wow.
feel it in our body. We feel that disconnection in our body. it's it sounds more intricate than it is, but when I'm taking you through it, it's powerful, because that's where your power is. Nobody can take it from you. It's we give it over when we start to feed the story that someone else is giving. Does that make
Got it.
sense?
Well, hello, Mr. Bo Chase. Bo Chase is in the house, and Bo Chase says hello, and hello to
Oh,
you, the Wife School podcast. Thank you so much for being here. We see you out here. So the different methods you talked about, a couple of things, and I was just going through your page. I was looking. It says when you live your passion, you'll never work a day in your life if you live your passion, which is good. And you were telling people these things. If you're looking for a way to find purpose in your work and go beyond feeling that is not just a job, or if you're seeking the best way to utilize your strength to maximize your career, and you're exploring ways to improve confidence, job satisfaction, and quality. So these are things that you help people to. So you're helping people with their career, you're helping people to set up their mind, their body, and their spirit. Talk to me about why this is so important, because people just get in this daily routine and they just get in this routine and they just redundant with it. But these are things that show up when they're disconnected, and what you do is to help people, and why they need to call you for a clarity call if they're having this issue right here and these pieces are broken.
You know that feeling you get when you are like all cylinders are running. You're like on fire. Like you just know whether it's in a connection in a relationship, or it's something you've created, or it's that that thing that lights you up. Can you think of a time when you felt that way?
What
Like that,
so the
where you
question is,
just feel alive.
can I think of a time? What's the question? Can I think of a time when I felt what?
Well, you just feel alive. Like you just feel like you are on purpose. Like you feel like that something came through you that was so powerful.
Well, I mean, giving birth, giving birth was definitely one, where it made me feel like I definitely was doing something purposeful. Um, you know, um, I feel powerful when I am hosting my podcast and doing this and giving people an opportunity to be seen, to be heard, to be felt, and give people a place to, because some people don't have that. They don't know how to go about doing it. So I enjoy that. I feel it when I ignite hope in people, because I'm a catalyst for hope, and I'm always looking to inspire and empower people and helping people to, be optimistic about life. That gives me joy when I see someone light up and they feel that
So, where do you feel that in your body?
in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're doing, so it's bigger than you are, right? It's like
Yeah.
it pulls you forward. It guides you to the next person, to the next thing, to the next, and you don't even know. Like when I first met you, we were both in different financial positions, different positions in our careers, but we both still had the same passion and that same drive. And it took us to the next right thing, to the next right thing. And it's like, well, and the cool thing about it was that us following that drive and not worrying about what it looked like allowed us to go down these roads, these fun little roads. And maybe they were just a stopping point, right? But they pulled us forward, and we didn't have to know all the answers. All we had to do was get on that train,
Yes.
right? And so
Yeah.
what this does is it allows you to climb into your purpose, which is waiting for you. So that emptiness that we're looking for, that we're numbing from, right? That feeling inside us that makes us not want to stay in our own body is your purpose calling. And when we don't answer the call, we try to numb it because there's an
Mhm.
emptiness. But what happens is you get that fullness, you get that heart-led, heart-centered feeling. So if you don't want to be medicated and you don't want to be numbed and you don't want to live kind of a lack of luster life, then when you're hitting that wall, doing this work will bring you out the other side. That's what's called brave breakthroughs. Because when I thought about my clients, and I was to tears thinking about the people that I have taken, again, humbly taking
Mhm.
from one side to the other and just thriving, like
Mhm.
on fire and helping people. Like I help the people that help people.
Mhm. Mhm.
So for me, it's like those people that were fallen into addiction, anxiety, depression, insomnia were people that were disconnected from their purpose.
Well, let me ask you something. I see on your website where you have some testimonials. So you've helped some people enough that they wanted to share that. Are you okay if I let someone see
Sure.
your work and how it pays off? I want you to see how effective she is. So I want you to understand why you need to contact her and why she's the person. On the bottom of the screen, you'll see her phone number and you see her email and how you can call her for a clarity call. But let me just give you an example of what some of her people are saying here. Okay. So here you go. Here's one.
Hi, Kavita. Welcome. Hi. Thank you so much for coming today. We just really celebrate where you are, and I want to know a little bit about your journey when you first were struggling and needing help, and what attracted you to come to work with me at Journey Within.
Although a few things, I think what you have is really unique compared to a lot of other places because I work in healthcare as well. Um, I kind of had a struggle within myself, um, and I was trying to find a path, basically. So there was a lot of things that were going on. I had moved, it was a new career. That brings its own strains in a relationship. And so there was a lot of introspection I had. And then I chanced on your um, ad. I was looking for someone and I saw your ad. And what really attracted me was the fact that not only was there counseling, but there was an element of the metaphysical and spiritual elements in it, which really was something that I was looking for. And the journey with you has just been amazing because I've learned so much about myself. Um, and it's just been incredible because it opened up a lot of insight about myself, not from just under, just knowing it. You've made me truly understand myself, and the whole spiritual element has been great. There's so many things. It's been a great opening for me to understand myself, how I communicate, and also understand how I'm communicating and the perspective my partner might be having as well, and to understand him, to understand how he's communicating to me, and we came at a difficult time, um, but it ended up being so incredible. Um, my husband came only for 2 sessions, but it was just an incredible insight. And he's not one person to believe anything about like counseling, anything like that. But he came, he listened. It was really great what you did because I had my time with you to understand myself. So I got really grounded. And then to understand just the power of love
Wow.
and just that take with everyone in the world, how it starts from you. Um, and I saw that happening with my husband as well. And I didn't know how much he heard in the sessions because we were just talking to you, not just talking to you, talking to you. And so I was going through my own emotions. He was doing his. But I remember the time that we joked about it. He joked about it, and he said, "This is what Kimarie said."
Okay.
you know. Um, and it was just amazing to just remember that, and how you have mentioned about not letting the town idiots take charge, and that was incredible. That's great because as a human you have so many thoughts that go through your head, and then you just say, what, silence the mind, let's listen again, let's hear the.
Wow. So listen, so with that right there, when I listen to that, it tells me that you're reaching people. And when she said you reached her husband, it's hard to reach the men. A lot of times you can reach the women, but you can't reach the men. So I can see that you're making breakthroughs, and I see that you have other ones. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go to her website. The website is bravebreakthroughs.com and book that clarity call. Call 732-492-5512. Once again, 732-492-5512. If you need a breakthrough, okay? Is there any area that gives you more joy more than any other area to help people with getting a breakthrough?
Actually, I really work well in relationships. So for me, no matter what you come to me for, it always boils down to what is happening in your relationship dynamics. So we usually are addressing that anyway. But that is definitely my forte. Actually just finished my second doctorate in relationship dynamics. And I'm finishing a book also on why love hurts and how it's also the only thing that heals. So
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow, that's amazing. So relationship dynamic, talk to us about that a minute. Is that for people going through breakups and just always arguing and stuff, or is it for people who maybe they don't have a lot of negative problems, but they just want to relate better to themselves?
All of the above, right? Because I've even worked in relationship with children, relationships with coworkers, because it's really looking at a relationship differently also. Because because again, back to the mindset of how we view, are we separate, or are we, it's looking at things from a different perception, allowing people to get the freedom of not feeling victimized by other people the way sometimes we think we do with what's showing up in front of us. So it's looking at the bigger picture of a situation from a different perspective, allowing you to claim your power. And when we can claim it in that situation, then we can claim it in all of our situations, in our relationships at work, or connecting with people, with the person at the grocery store who snaps at you, or so it's really about understanding the part we play and how we can always claim our power back. And in
Wow.
doing so, creating harmony and connection versus, that, push pull in the relationships.
Wow. Well, let me do this because I know I just want to let you know y'all need to go check her out. Now, you also wrote a couple books. I see this book here that you wrote. Talk to me about this book. This was the first book of its kind. What is this book that you wrote here, Princess Nia?
Princess Nia and the Magic Bluebird was a book that had come to me when I was at a very low point. Again, always working with clients, we all go through our ups and downs. And one thing that's great about realizing we're all human and going through it is that we can always bring something out that we can share on the other side of it. And what had come through me in that book is really understanding that a lot of times the fight that we have is within ourselves. So she gets imprisoned in the she gets locked in this room in the castle and can't find her way out. And in doing so, she finally surrenders because she's beat the door, she can't get out, and she starts to tap into her creativity. And then she has a dream that if she had a magic bluebird, what would she do? What would she do? What would she do if you it's really leaning into the possibilities of if you didn't have this limitation, and so she started to do it. She started to dream these things and started to do these things that she never thought that she could do. And then she finds her way out and realizes that, the lock that was never the lock was on the inside of the door the whole time.
Wow. And
Really
this
about,
can be, and they can find this on Amazon.
yes.
Amazon. And then you wrote another book. Talk to me about this book.
Okay. And so both of the books, I had written a letter to the reader, the adult reader, in the back, really going into deeper spiritual lesson of each book. So the first one is really about claiming your power back, right? And this one is actually Whoosh was my dog.
Wow.
And it was really telling a story of her life as if it were through her eyes. And
Wow.
so it goes into some heavy emotions about feeling rejected when she got bit by another dog, and how she handled it, and how she got a little aggressive, and just kind of how um realizing that that's not going to get her friends, and realizing how she can overcome big feelings of forgiveness um, and rejection, and it takes her out the other side. And it's a great story for kids who, both of them are great stories for kids or adults, because I do believe they're for children 3 to 103, but just a way to simply navigate those feelings together and see it from another perspective. And then also at the end of that book, I go into both of the books, I put a barcode that has a toolkit on how you can go through little processes. So with the princess one, it teaches you how to claim your empowerment, like do a little visualization so you could do it with your child. And in the Adventures of Whoosh book, it also has different tools to do to get them, to teach them. So it's basically children's tools that is fun, And then I wrote a letter to each of the another letter to the adult, really going deeper into it. And just something food for thought, food for thought. So it's fun.
Wow, wow. Well, you know what? You have really taken everything from your parents, everything from your children, and just poured it all into making you who you are today. We know a lot of who we are comes from our life experiences, and our life experiences makes us who we are today. And so that's really amazing. And I can tell that you love doing it because you're continually getting more certifications and you're continually finding more ways to help people in these areas. What next? What do you think is going to be next? I mean, like 5 years from now, what do you see yourself doing?
Well, I'm really getting more into speaking and doing workshops. So for me right now, it's about I've been doing bigger workshops. I've done things with again. I work with the problem solvers. So I did worked at UNC Chapel Hill, working with the pharmacy residents. I've done. I've done United Way. I've worked with the substance abuse counselor. So to me, I want to get on stages and I want to be able to really help people in a bigger way, speak to them, go through the processes, do workshops, go to corporate. I would like to do things in corporate stress management and leadership, that kind of stuff. That's where I'm headed. And I have 3 books that are at the end of, at the end processes that will be coming out. One is on burnout. The one is on the love, as I mentioned. And then the last one is about my car accident. And it really goes into the collision, what I learned. It's, from collision to clarity. So really, yeah.
It's funny you said that after me having a car accident yesterday. Yeah, that'll definitely do. Something about the impact,
Yes.
that moment when you just stop and you just like, whoa, because you realize number one, you're blessed because you made it through. Because I don't know what kind of car accident you was in, but I'll tell you something, that impact ain't no joke.
Oh,
It
it was
it'll
bad. Yeah.
definitely it'll give you some clarity. It'll knock some shit. There you go. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
sit.
I happen
Okay.
to have a picture.
And you just sit there and go, Lord. It's interesting she said that because I just had a wreck yesterday where I totaled my car. Yeah, girl. Yeah. Yeah. And so from collision to
So far,
clarity. Oh my God. Hold that up. Hold that higher. Up higher. Wow. Wow. So wow, that's so amazing. From
yeah.
collision to clarity. The timing of these, and it's interesting that we reconnected again at this time. You brought that up. That's really interesting. And wow, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Kimarie Machinga. She has 2 YouTube channels and she goes live. Talk to us about when you go live on your channels and what people can expect and when they should connect with you on these channels.
I usually put them up on Facebook Live and then drop them over there. But mine are spirit led, right? So I just do a meditation and then whatever I'm supposed to say that day, I say, and some pretty good stuff comes out, right? Because it's usually what people need to hear. So I just talk about different ways to look at life, how to
Mhm.
approach life, and yeah. So my 2 channels are you. Did you post the channels or should I mention them?
Dr. Kim Marie is one of them. I
Yep.
see that one is one where you kind of give them some good stuff. You go into some good stuff over there. Let's look and see, y'all. She be doing some stuff, okay? And so I'm going to give you a glance at it and let's just take a look at what she got going on at Dr. Kim Marie. And so over here, I see this is one where you tend to talk about some stuff, and we're gonna look and see. Tell us one of the ones that we might want to listen to and see. I'm looking. You're looking at it here. When's the last time you did a message on your channel? When's the
Uh,
last?
the last one was a couple months ago. So I did one on fuel
Fuel.
up and show up. Yeah.
Wow. Let's look at that, y'all. Fuel up and show up.
Hi, it's Dr. Kimarie on this gorgeous day. I want to talk about fuel. Have you ever gone to the gas station, you put gas in your car, and then the next time you're driving, it's like putt putt, you get out of the driveway and it just starts to go really slow and you think there's something wrong with your car. I had done that before, and a friend of mine said, well, if you turn it off and turn it back on, it'll start working, it'll go right. And it did. But there was sediment in the gas that caused it to make the car putter, and so I had to get a solution to put in the gas tank to kind of clean out that sediment. And so when we think about the fuel that we put in our body, right? It's like we wonder why there are times where we feel really sluggish, where we don't have the energy, where our body starts to putter. And we assume that it's our body breaking down. We assume that there's nothing that we can do. Sometimes because we're so used to that feeling, we're so used to being tired, we're so used to needing a nap, we're feeling depressed or feeling down or needing that pick me up, whether it be sugar or caffeine or we think that we don't understand, we don't correlate the two. And the thing is like when we clean ourselves out and we start eating really clean, and then we have that thing, we can see so clearly the correlation of how the fuel that we put in our body affects how our body works, right? I mean, it makes complete sense. But at the time, because we're brought up with certain foods and certain lifestyles, that we don't realize how negatively it can impact our body. And the same thing can happen with our mind, right? We're so used to saying certain things to ourselves that we don't catch that mind chatter, the limiting beliefs, the things that are always knocking us down, the things telling us that we're not enough or that we need to do more, we need to, that no matter what, we can't put ourselves out there, right? All of that negative chatter, right? So, but when we start to fill it with positive, when we start catching the negative and we start to fill it, stop that in its tracks and then start to fill it with fuel of abundance and joy and peace and freedom and encouragement and inspiration. That takes a little bit of work. It doesn't have to be terrible. It could be fun, right? But it does take a retraining. It does take being aware, and then it takes conscious intention, right?
Wow. I'm
So
going to
what
stop
we
on
put
that
in
note
our
right
body,
there.
the fuel we
So that was a mouthful. It takes work, it takes conscious intention, and we have to be aware. Talk to us about that. So, fueling the body with the right things, what we eat and what we think and what we say.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Those few, yeah, because basically either we're going to live on and not pay attention, right? We're just kind of scrolling along, or we're paying attention, we're being intentional in what we're allowing in our mind, allowing in our consciousness, allowing in our spirit, allowing in our body. So often we just get mindless, right? We eat things that cause inflammation in our body. Inflammation causes disease is from inflammation, right? So inflammation, whether it's in our joints, then we start aching, we start blowing up, we wonder why these things are breaking down. Not every food is in the food pyramid is healthful for our body, right? So one of the things with my son was he was eating a lot of, but back in the 90s it was like high carb, as long as you were not eating fat you can eat everything else, you can eat, but they added sugar to everything. So sugar is such a drug within itself, and it causes so many ailments to the body. So just sugar alone, just really watching the sugar intake, and sugar is in so many things. But let's put food aside for a minute. Each of us have so many thoughts a day. We wake up in the morning and our eyes are not even open,
Mm,
and our mind chatter is already
mm,
telling us how much we have to do, what we're doing wrong, what we didn't do yet, our to-do list. Like it's just blah 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 blah, and it can decide your day for you before your eyes are even open. So
wow.
it's really about being intentional right there too. So for me, I start my day off in prayer and intention. I
Wow.
decide. And so how I do that is you can take that narrative and just start being thankful for what you do have, instead of being worried about what you didn't do yet or what you have to do, right? Because it's like dialing into a radio station. We're either going to dial into a high frequency of love, gratitude, faith, possibility, or we're going to dial into worry, fear, I don't, not enoughness. And that's a literal frequency. So you
Wow.
have to be intentional, because autopilot will put you into the negative. If you just leave it to autopilot, you're going to do the craving, you're going to do the thing because you're coming from emptiness. But when you come from intention, you're now deciding, you're plugging into, to what's going to bring the best version of you.
So let's talk about that for a minute. Some people start, you said you start with prayer. I thought you were going to say prayer meditation, but you said prayer and intention. That was good. So when you said sometimes before we open our eyes, we're already thinking about our day. Okay, I got to get up. I got to get ready, get dressed. I got to get the kids together. We got to make a stop. I got to go here. I got to do this. And you're so right. I mean, our mind, it's my mind doesn't shut off. A lot of times I go to bed, I lay down, but my mind is still going. I
Absolutely.
say it's like a surge protector. All the
Yep.
plugs, all the plugs are plugged in and they're just going. So what you just said, it hit me because I was like, she's so right. Like I wake up before I really get out of bed, I'm thinking already, okay, I need to do this and that. And what helped me was I started to write it down. I said, okay, let me give myself, and that's being intentional. I said, let me write down how I'm going to go about doing this today. Because if I found that when I just did it, either I forget something or I didn't do it in the order I want to do it. So when I stopped and I write it, now I'm being intentional and I'm structuring my day the way I want it to go. I'm allocating my time and I'm getting everything accomplished that I want to get accomplished. So would you say that I'm going about that the way that you would have recommended had I spoken to you?
That's a great question. So that is putting out the fire, and so you were on the road to overwhelm, right? So you started to circle and you started to go downward, right? And that is what happens. So a remedy would be to write it down, and either in the morning or at night before you go to bed, because at night you're worried about all the things. So you write it down so that you can take it off of your spirit, right? But with that being said, now you know that default is going to, your problems are going to wake you up every day until
Mm.
you decide that they're not, right? So now you know.
Well, let me ask you this. I got to stop you there because you gave them a name. You said my problems. So I don't always look at them as problem. I look at that as my either my chores or
Your
my
to-do
things
list.
to do. Things to do.
Yes. Yeah, the
So
to-do list.
the
Yeah,
things
so
to
that's
do.
part of it. So that's part of it, because the thing is, you're still going to look, it's still going to knock you into a low frequency because
Uh,
it causes stress, because it's a thing, it's your to-do list. So you get to decide, you have to, like, so the what being intentional before that is to lean into, how do I want to respond to the to-do list? So you don't
Yes.
want to be in the low radio station when you're responding. So
Wow.
what you want to do is you want to get into the high frequency first. And so whether it's thank you, God, whether it's taking deep breaths and connecting and grounding yourself, whether it's playing spiritual music in your mind, whether it's thank you for my feet, thank you for my toes, thank you for, what you're doing is you're overriding the program that's there to scream at you. And it's literally you're deciding. It's like, if you watch Caesar Milan, he decides how the dog's going to react by his energy. And so it's the same thing. It's you are deciding how you're going to respond to your to-do list. The to-do list is not going to yell at you. You're going to get into your dialed radio station. You're going to be in gratitude first, which is going to give you a higher, you literally change the part of your brain that you're working from. So rather than coming from survival, you're coming from your prefrontal cortex, which allows you to problem solve. So all of that sets you up to win. So yes, what you're doing is good, but now tomorrow, rather than have that show up again, you want to catch it. You know what I mean? So that you can shift that energy.
Wow. Wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So the average entrepreneur who is juggling a job, juggling a business, has a family, has a loved one that may be aging, are going to have this every day, right?
Yeah.
So, but to advise them to recognize where they are before they get to the overload. How do you turn it off so that you don't wake up with that? In other words, how do you turn it off so that you go to sleep and you don't wake up with that list in your brain before you even start your day?
It's really happens pretty quickly that you can do a retraining. So once it's in your consciousness that, I call the to-do list, I call the worries, I call all the things that come crashing in. Your eyes aren't even open. Like, you're just conscious in your body, and it starts. I call that the town idiots. The town idiots are always coming in. Blah, they just want to crowd you. And so what you're doing is you are discerning. And so you have to already expect that every morning that's going to happen. So you have to, when your consciousness knows you're in your body, and it really doesn't take a lot, it's not hard to do, you start to thank you. Thank you. Even if you get the word thank you out and you just keep saying thank you, you're raising your vibration and you're overriding the chatter, because that chatter is a low frequency. So you're literally overriding that chatter. Now, for me, when I get out of bed, I play a lot of songs that inspire me. So now that I do that, I wake up in the morning and those songs wake me up in my head. So even though they're not playing, so if it's not thank you, I am like, thank you for the day, whatever it is. I always start the moment I am conscious with gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yep. Because it's the easiest thing. If you said thank you 100 times and you didn't even know what you were thankful for, you would override the town idiots. So like you're deciding, because you're shifting the frequency. Literally, it's a different energy. It's heavier to worry than it is to be in gratitude. It's a higher vibration. So you're tuning out of that old narrative and you're tuning into something higher. And so then what that means is, in our brain, when we worry, we go into that reptilian, that worry brain, which there's no solution there. So it brings us back into the prefrontal cortex, where problem solving, where we are calmer, where we produce the feel good hormones, serotonin, oxytocin. These are the things that you're trying to get from medications. Our brain creates them, but not when we're in survival. When we're in survival, it creates stress hormones. So if you wake up with your to-do list, that's creating stress hormones. You want to create the oxytocin. You want to create what you get from meditation. You want to create that, and you can yourself without, the need of an aid.
The oxytocin, that's the thing that they say a lot of people get from this. Like a
Yes.
lot of people are
I
stuck
know
to their
dopamine.
dopamine. That's the dopamine. Yeah. That's the dopamine. That's
Dopamine is what happens when you have a drug or anything like that. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
dopamine
yeah.
hit. Yeah.
The dopamine. Talk to me about that for a minute. That's a problem. That's like a that's
Dopamine is yes. Yes. Well, that's another escape, right? So what happens is as we get addicted to that outer thing, it keeps us from ever connecting with where the answer is. The answer is always going to be plugging in, right? So when we're disconnected from our source, we always the thing that we tend to do is go outward looking for it, right? And so that thing gives us, it's like candy. It's like you get that dopamine hit. It's the same thing as drugs. So when people, they look down on addicts, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing happening
wow.
in the brain. So, and you're escaping.
So the average person, when you go in a room, and if you go in a doctor's office or something, you look around, everybody's like this.
Oh, yeah. No one's connecting.
People used to have conversations in the room. Even families sit down at tables sometime. You have to almost make a contract or an agreement, like, okay, we're gonna leave our phones in the car.
Yes.
Cause
No joke.
or here's another one. Put it on do not disturb. Because remember when we came up, we had pages and stuff. Now it's like people feel like you're supposed to be always available 24/7,
Yes.
365.
Yes.
It's like, how dare you put me to voicemail? So are we heading for destruction with that, with these cell phones, with this? I mean, is that adding to the problem for
Oh,
human
it's
beings?
100%. I think the biggest problem that we have in society is disconnection. People are suffering from disconnection. And really anxiety, depression, insomnia, all of it is boredom, lack of purpose. It's all disconnection. And so all the work that I do is about connection, right? It's
Wow.
connection within yourself and connection with your purpose. And when we're connected within ourself, in our spirit, and we're connected to our purpose, then we are lit up, right?
Yes.
We're being pulled forward. It's fun to be here. We truly are present because people are diagnosed with anxiety and depression every day. Anxiety is focusing so much on that future, and feeling powerless or what happened in the past, right? And then we get depressed. So when we're present and we are in our body and we are, all cylinders are connecting, we're alive. It's great to be here. It's like when you and I connected the first time. I remember the first conversation, it was like on fire, right? It was
Yeah.
like so much,
Yeah.
it was like on fire. And it's like you could be like that with the people in the grocery store and get that connection. Like you said, so many people turning off. I try not to focus on where things could go, only
Yes.
because they're already there. And I focus on possibility because it only takes a second to get back. And one person at a time, right? When I worked with these people with addiction who had been in and out of treatment centers and who had been in and out of therapy for 20 years, and then within months we have them off of every substance, we have them on fire. Like I'm working with clients, this is not like a one-time thing, this is anybody who's committed thing, and quickly. It doesn't take a long time. And I think
Wow.
more than ever, people that are like you and I, like it only takes 1% to change the world. It takes us focused on that possibility to change the world.
Dr. Kim, I could go on and on and on because this is so good. We're gonna have to make a series. We're gonna have to make a series where we can come back and really help people. But I gotta bring this. I gotta land this plane because I don't want to keep you all night. But I just gotta ask this question. So for the individual who's the multitasker, the juggler, the what's the word they use? It's on the tip of my tongue. The person who they have like 5 businesses and 6 businesses. They call themselves a not a solopreneur, but it's right there. It's on the tip of my tongue. But for the people who are always doing this, for the people who are always connected to the phone and doing that, how in the world can a person turn it off? How can they come to a conclusion that, and for the people who are not connecting with their children, and this is a big one, there's so many children that are not getting what they
Yeah.
need because the parents are too engaged with the phone or too engaged with the TV or too engaged with whatever they're doing. How do we get the people back to connecting? How do we do this with 2025, the way the world is evolving, technology is evolving? How do we do it?
Well, first of all, we have to be the example, right? So we have to do it, right? We have to be that example. That's one of the reasons why I also wrote
Yeah,
children's books
that's it.
so that we can get, so I can talk to the parents, right? And but breathing, right? So as simple, if I were to teach one thing, if somebody said to me, you're only allowed to teach one thing in this life, what would it be? It would be learning how to breathe, connect, right? Because when you do the deep diaphragmatic breathing, if you could do 3 deep diaphragmatic breaths where you fill your belly with air on the inhale and then you hold it. And then as you exhale, you pull your belly in. Yeah. So inhale, hold, and then exhale, pull your belly in. You do that 3 times. And actually, you can do it right now as we're doing it. Take another inhale, hold, and then exhale slowly out. And then inhale, hold. Exhale slowly out. And as you're doing that, you're flooding your brain with oxytocin. You're flooding your body with oxygen. You just keep that breathing going. And imagine roots growing from the bottom of your feet, down through the floor, down through the earth, and plugging into the earth. And as you're plugging in, imagine that you just literally plugged into your power source.
Mm,
And
mm,
imagine like before you were bobbing in the ocean, all of a sudden you feel like you're tethered. You feel like you're being held,
mm,
you
mm.
know, like spirit is holding you. You are
Yeah,
being guided. You are being held. And so right now, as you do that, it just takes that long to get you present. And when
right.
you flooded your brain with oxygen, you've flooded your brain with oxytocin, you're back in the present moment, you are grounded, and you feel in your body, you're back in your wholeness, right?
Mm,
Now,
mm,
it could take a second to get you out of your wholeness if you get triggered,
mhm,
but it also
mm.
takes you that short a period of time to bring yourself back. The
Bring
only
it
thing
back.
you need is to aware, and the way to be aware is you feel it in your body. Your body
Yeah.
will have a pinch or a punch or a twist, or if it's not joy, peace, or freedom, you need to get yourself present.
You made me think of a lot of times they tell people that some people, when they're going through something, they count to 10. They stop and they count to 10. And you also made me think of people meditating. I guess that's why they do it. And I don't meditate a lot, but I know that whenever I do, it is very calming.
Yeah,
It
I
just
meditate a
it
lot.
forces you to just stop. And
Yep.
sometimes I think I should go back to that because I rarely just stop. I'm always going and going and
Well,
going.
and that's like a fear response too, because it's like we have this belief that they're life, you have to do, but it's like when you slow it down and you take that time to invest in that, believe it or not, time expands. Anytime, when I add meditation, like I did a 45-minute meditation before this call, like
Wow.
it when I invest there, then I'm
Yes.
like so much more effective in my
Mhm.
time management, in my reactivity, and my how I'm dealing, everything just gets so much easier.
Wow.
So yeah, it's powerful. Where we invest our energy has everything to do with the quality of our day and our lives.
Yeah, man. We got to do more of that. We do. Serialpreneur. Thank you, John, for that. Serialpreneur. That's what it was. Wow, Dr. Kim Marie Machinga. Y'all follow her. Check her out on her YouTube channels. Get her books on Amazon. Book a clarity call. She'll help you just slow down. So many of us are just going and going and going. And a lot of us are going because we might be running from something or not facing something or it just became a habit. I know it became a habit for me when I started grieving.
Absolutely.
When I started grieving, that's how I dealt with it. I just kept myself busy because I didn't like my new normal. So I kept myself going. And it's loud. Now it's hard for me to stop. It's hard
Yeah,
for me to stop. And so it is really important about what you're doing is really helping people. And we don't realize it, but we need to do it because it's important. That's why people are having a heart attack. They're breaking down. They're having a stroke. I just got a text today. My friend is in the hospital. She just told me she had a stroke. I'm like, what? That's why people are having these issues come up on it because we are overloading ourselves. So
absolutely.
please take it easy. And I'm speaking to myself too. I'm speaking to myself. We must slow down. I want to thank you so much. I want to ask you if there's any closing comments that you want to make overall. In that, you can tell us any events you have coming up, when your next time you're going to go live, and where, and just anything that's on your heart that you'd like to tell the people to conclude this. And I just thank you for the time. I thank you for your energy and your words of wisdom, and I just appreciate you because it just calmed me down. Just you calmed me down inadvertently. You know what I mean? Like you
Yes.
like literally calmed me.
I saw it. Well, I would like to say thank you as well. And I guess to the listeners that you're not alone. You're not alone. And that no matter how far off you think you are, it only takes a moment to get back. It really, really does. And there is, I mean, I have a system in place that really brings you back over and over and over again, where we start to detect when we're off course and when we're back on purpose and intention, because we are human. We all fall in and out of intentional practices, but it's getting back there as quickly as possible where your power is, right? It's claiming your power so that it doesn't feel like it's been taken from you. And that's what I want to say is, like, I would love to have you feel empowered in your own life.
And tell them again your phone number or how they can reach you.
And you can reach me at support@bravebreakthroughs.com for a free clarity call, or you can call 732-492-5512. I also have the two YouTube channels. One is Kimarie Machinga, Kimarie Machinga 1111 4 ones, and Dr. Kimarie, Drkimarie. They're both my YouTube channels.
Wow. I love you. I can't wait till we get together. We're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to do something. This has been amazing. I thank you so much. I couldn't stop myself because I just had more questions. I just had more questions. I was like, I didn't really keep you
Oh,
this
and my
long.
books will be out. My books will be out. They're all I have three of them that have just been. I've been kind of going back and forth with all of them. The three of them will be out in the next few months. So
If you want to get relaxed and let her relax you like she did me, literally in the conversation when she did that, it just kind of made me go.
yeah,
And sometimes that's what we need, y'all. We don't even realize we need it, but we really need it. I'll be 66 on my next birthday, and people be like, "Chrissy, you don't look your age." And I think if I really applied some of those techniques, I would even age less. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely. It
we have to
absolutely
do that.
does that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to do that, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done it, please go and subscribe to her channel, subscribe to this channel. We'll be back Sunday at 9 p.m. at Storytime. And we love you for watching. Thank you so much, Dr. Kim. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And let's make it happen, man. We got to come up with a way. I think the answer is to do something like one thing at a time because you do so much and just kind of figure out a strategy. Um, and we're gonna figure that out. I'll see y'all on the next story time. I am Crystal Bodie Smith. I am your hope catalyst. My mission is to stir up the gift, instill hope, and save lives. And you know what I say? I say keep hope alive. See you on the next story time. Whatever you do, make it a great day. Pay attention to one another, love one another, spend time with one another. Please don't take it for granted. Every day is a gift. See you on the next story time. I love you. Bye. Thank you for watching.
A catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo, your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for Storytime. Hey, come on.